Hello and welcome to another episode of the Portrait Profit Show. I am so glad you're here with me on this beautiful Monday. Uh, we've got some special stuff to share with you today. You can see down here that the title is Time Management for Photographers, something that we all need a little help with, right? Yeah. We creatives, we know how to waste time. But we're going to be talking about some tools and some things that we can use today to help us reduce that or use some of those disadvantages to our advantage. What do you think of that? Yeah, we'll be talking about one of the biggest ones, procrastination, and how it can be used for us. Yeah, you'll see. I'm Jim Landers, and my mission is simple. I help photographers like you make a great income doing what they love. Each week, you get tips and systems on the business side of photography designed to help you gain a mastery over marketing and sales, reducing the struggles that most photographers face so you can finally get what you deserve. You're in the right place. Welcome to the Portrait Profit Show. The Portrait Profit Show is brought to you by Digital Pro Lab and Landers Photography School. As we said already, we're talking about time management for photographers today. And I want to encourage you to share as we're going through this. And the way I want you to do that is by clicking that like button, clicking the love button, going to click that share button to let other people know. Because when we all grow, each one of us, just one little change, if one of us grows, we're all growing. And if we share that, we're all growing. So therefore, if you are telling other people about this, they're growing too. It's not like you're keeping a secret and keeping other people down and raising yourself up. That doesn't work. What works is sharing the good things that you've heard with others, so that everybody listens. So let's say that people start realizing that prices are too low, and everybody raises their prices. Then the clients stop thinking that price is too high. They start thinking that price is normal. Wouldn't you rather have that than deal with price comments all the time? Of course. Well, I also want you to leave comments. And when you do, I can see who you are and what your comment is if and only if you grant StreamYard, which is the platform we're using, permission to see your name. And you just click the link. It's in the description up at the top of the post. Just click on that link. You don't need to write this out that you're seeing right here on the screen. Just go up to the top of the post and click it, and that gives you permission so that I can see your comments when you make them. I'm going to look over at comments right now, and I can see, hey, Jimmy Thomas. Good. Multitasking. You know what? Sometimes multitasking works. Depends on what it is. Listening while driving, listening while working. That's probably a good thing. I'm glad you're here. Anybody else here? Anyone want to stop in and say hi? I'd sure like to see it. Amanda with Digital Pro Lab is normally here with us, but she is on a trip with her husband Ray in California. And guess where they are right now? They're in jail. They're at Alcatraz. They're visiting Alcatraz, having a good time. You know what? I didn't ask if it was okay if I said that. Amanda, sorry if you didn't want everybody knowing. I just shared the secret. So, but Amanda and Ray are having a well-deserved vacation. And so we'll see her back next week. Oh, good. Teacher with a day off. Photographer's a side gig by night. You know what? There's quite a few of you. Not too many, but there's quite a few. I'd say we could use a lot more. Yeah, time I can imagine. I mean, you've got something that's full time that takes all your time. You've got some extra, but not really, not a lot. And most people don't use that for what you're doing. So I'm glad you're doing that. By the way, it says Facebook user for me. So I can't tell who it is I'm talking to, but I'm so glad you commented. Thank you for doing that. Uh, all right. So uh, again, we're talking about time management for photographers uh, today, and I want to make you aware that you can get my attention off the show. You can, I have some options where you can have lunch with me, or you can do a private session with me. For lunch, you just go to the address that you see here on the screen. And so that is access to my calendar, and I take one photographer to lunch every single week. And so this is how you make that happen. So if you want me to treat you to lunch, use this address, that URL. Pick a time that works for you, a day that works for you. It's going to be the same time. Pick a day that works for you, and guess what? We're going to go have lunch. If you want to spend some time with some working on your business, talking about it, asking questions, getting your price list done, some planning ideas, then use this address, calendly.com/photoschool /30MIN. You get a free 30-minute private session with me to talk about your business. So take advantage of those things. I'm not going to leave those up the entire time, but this is recorded, and you'll see it in the feed, and you can come back to it afterwards, or do a screenshot. Yeah, do that. Yeah. All right. So, hey, Mike, some people manage their time through checklists. Others manage their time better by scheduling. Yeah, checklist is. We're going to be talking about that. I won't actually talk about checklists specifically, but we're going to be talking about task oriented here in just a moment versus deadline driven, as more how I describe it. Deadline driven or task driven. Some of us are very task driven. Some of us are very deadline driven. And we're going to be talking about what that means here very shortly, here in just a moment. I'll take that off of there. Time management. There we go. So I wasted time while preparing for this show, and I do that often. You know, in preparation for this show, the way I wasted time was procrastination. I think a lot of us experience that. We all know that procrastination is one of the biggest time wasters that there are. I mean, sure, I had some important things to do. At least that's what I told myself. I had to straighten my work area. I had to go through some stacks of paper. I had to check email. I had to check Facebook. I had to check Instagram. I needed to adjust my camera. The color balance was off. I needed to adjust my microphone. I want to make sure that it doesn't show up in the screen. I, I had to organize the wires and make sure that they don't show. You know, I don't want the wires to show. You know, important stuff. But what parts of all that important stuff actually helped me to convey the message I'm planning to deliver today? Here are some of the root causes of us wasting time. The first one, procrastination. We mentioned this one just a moment ago, so we have said it. But we're going to talk more about this one. You may be surprised that just like anything, the procrastination isn't all bad. Just like anything else, too much of it is a bad thing. And many of us deal with this problem on a daily basis. And we beat ourselves up about it. So just know that a little bit of procrastination is possibly a good thing. Next root cause of our time wasters is failing to remain focused on the task at hand. Now, that is sometimes in the area of procrastination too. And you may have heard of this phrase, stay in your lane. Now, you may have said that while driving, and this is where the phrase comes from. But stay in your lane. If not, if you don't, haven't heard that before, it means focus on what you must do to get your current concern done. And done in a way that optimizes time as well as causes the work to be thorough, complete, and up to whatever standards that you set for yourself. The next root cause is failing to clearly define your service and product lines. How's that a time waster? If you don't describe what you do well, then you get more of what you don't want to do, wasting both your time and others' time too. We'll talk more about that. Next one is failing to define your target market. We want to attract those who we want to work with. When we do a good job of attracting who it is we want to work with, we find the people we want to work with. I'll give an example of that in here in just a little bit. And the last one, for purposes of the show, there's a lot of things that are root causes of time wasting, is wandering around without a plan. This one is huge. It may not sound that way on the surface, but this one is huge. Some people will waste months, years, decades, and some, unfortunately, an entire lifetime by not getting clear on your plan. You've got lots of reasons not to make a plan, I get it. But if you go on a road trip and head out from San Antonio and head towards El Paso, and then sometime during that trip you decide, I want to go to downtown San Antonio, do you think you've wasted any time? Yeah. All right, so let's talk about that big time waster, procrastination. Maybe, just maybe, if we could understand what's going on in this beautiful, wonderful, creative brain that we have, maybe we could break the hold of procrastination and get things done in the way that we know we can, in the way we've done before. We've had spurts of time where energy and focus where we've really accomplished some good things. Sometimes it's at the last minute, but we know if we could have applied that sooner, wow, what we could have done. I've come across a handful of people, maybe a lot, but I've come across a few people who shared an excuse for procrastination. They're saying that it works for them because they feel that they work better under pressure. You know what? There is a bit of truth to that. There's a lot of truth to that. You've heard the saying, if it wasn't for the last minute, I'd get nothing done. There's some truth. So I'm not telling you that procrastination is all bad. For creatives who are deadline driven, I'm going to define what this means in just a moment, but for creatives who are deadline driven as opposed to task driven, it's just how many of our minds work. So let's define the difference between deadline driven and task driven. Deadline driven is the when it's due plays the largest role in our motivation. When it's due plays the largest role in our motivation to actually get it done. Then there's the task driven. The knowledge that there is something undone, an undone task, plays the largest role in our motivation. There's a lot of other types of motivation, but I'm focusing in on these two. Which of these two are you more like? Are you more deadline driven, that the due date, the time when it is due, that you need to get it in by, that the client needs it by? Is that a huge source of your motivation? Making sure that it gets done on time? I'm not saying for task-oriented people it isn't important. It is. It's just they usually get it done before you. They've already gotten it done. They haven't gotten to the level of the stress that you are feeling. Task-driven, again, the knowledge that there is an undone task plays a large role, if not the largest role, in their motivation. Which one are you? Task-driven or deadline-driven? By the way, for creatives, there's a lot of both. There are more on the deadline-driven side, but there are a lot of both. So thinking about procrastination, don't we need a moment? And moment, I'm purposefully not describing a period of time. Don't we need a moment to relax before creating? I mean, it's not like turning on the water for the shower. You turn it on and it just starts coming out. Most of us creatives have to be in the right mode to make that work. So yeah, we need a moment to relax before creating. And yes, often we do, but for many, procrastination is not just that moment. It's the accumulation of moments because it becomes a real problem. If we have a task or series of tasks to complete by a deadline, our minds allow pretty much anything to get in and distract from the goal, taking up valuable, unreplenishable time. That is until our stress level for knowing that we're out of time kicks in. And that pressure pushes us to laser focus and get it done by the deadline. For many of us, this is just the norm. But it adds stress. And I don't think we actually need to be adding any more of that into our lives. Especially when we're the ones that can control it. Let's talk about planning. So, how do we stop doing things that we are well aware causes added stress? We all handle things differently. There's no one solution. But I want to suggest one potential solution that might work for deadline-driven creatives, and that's planning. By the way, this also works quite well, and I recommend it for task-driven, so this applies to both. Planning. And this is planning as a foundation for time management. You spend a lot of time if you wander through life without a plan. Sure, there's going to be things that delay you. Sure, you're going to change your mind. Sure, there will be situations that force you to reconsider parts or even much of the plan. But that is no excuse not to plan. Are you going to go on a road trip? Are you not going to plan a road trip because you might get into a car accident? Of course not. You're going to plan. That potential to get in a car accident doesn't slow you down even slightly. It doesn't cause even so much as a moment's hesitation. But for some in life, it's the reason why they don't plan, because things could happen. Stop it with the excuses. Define your destinations. By the way, I do use some words as a creative, and destinations is one of those, and success is another. I'm going to define those the way I use them real quick. Destinations are like the items on a task list. Success is the check mark you put next to them when complete. I'll repeat that. Destinations are like the items on a task list. Success is the check mark you put next to them when complete. Meaning you have lots of successes every single day. Planning begins by knowing where you are headed. So you begin by brainstorming without restriction. No money restrictions, no time restrictions. Get rid of that, and don't have that in your mind when you're doing brainstorming for your plan. You're brainstorming the kind of life that you feel at this point. Yes, it's going to change. But at this point, describe the life that you think would be fantastic. Maybe for you, that's a paid off house, a paid off car, no debt. Maybe it's paying for the kids' education. Maybe it's paying for weddings. Maybe it's giving the kids a little bit of startup money when they start their lives. Maybe it's setting aside enough money to retire with just enough to get by. For others, this brainstorm of what your ideal life may be like. Maybe it's a vacation or 2 or 3 or 4 per year. Maybe it's a larger home paid off. A vacation home paid off. How about a super yacht, a jet, and a helicopter? I mean, you really do want to get to that leisurely cruise as quickly as possible, right? Maybe you want 10 million set aside for a really comfortable retirement. Maybe you have a dream studio in mind. Maybe there are causes you believe in and would love to contribute to. Whatever your ideal life is, if you haven't written it down, you will not be the person who makes it happen, because you have not defined it yet. So how do you start? You're a creative. You have a fantastic mind. Even though sometimes you might doubt it, you might compare to others, you might want something someone else has the easy ability to do, but you have a fantastic mind. So let's use that fantastically creative tool and design the life you haven't even allowed yourself to imagine. Define what you want in this life. The what, the why, the where, in every category you can think of. I'm going to give you some big rock categories. Family, health, career, relationships with friends, financial, travel, social, your home, your car, your stuff, contributions and charity, hobbies, play, rest, and mental, emotional, and spiritual. These are some of the big ones. You're going to need to take some time to do this, but in every category you can think of, write down what would be ideal. If there's a cause you believe in and you'd love to donate $1,000, $100,000, $1,000,000, again, this is ideal. This isn't what you have the ability to do today. What would you do if you could? That's what brainstorming, what your ideal life is all about. If you add in costs and time and everything else while you're brainstorming, you're doing it wrong. Once you have done a good job of defining that ideal life, obviously you need to define a path to get there. This is the how and the where. You'll need a good amount of time to do this. And again, all these things will change over time. You will amend them. But you're going to define a path to get there. By the way, I help with this kind of thing. Once you've defined the path, you define a timeline for making it happen. There's a couple of ways I recommend doing this. If you've got a big old dry erase board that you can't use, I mean big, 8 feet wide, maybe you've got 2 or 3 of the 8-foot wide ones. You need something big. Or maybe this is even better. On a wall, held up with a string held up with a pin on each side. I want you to write down on a Post-it note-sized piece of paper every single one of these things you want in this ideal life. And then put it up on that string as if it were a timeline of your life in the order you'd like for it to happen in. You're going to adjust, but get started. Put them in the order you want, and then assign dates. When do you want to have this done by? When would you like to receive this into your life? It works. By the way, this same thing I'm talking about, having that string with the pieces of paper in order, this works for a lot of areas of your life. If you want to plan out your process of how you do business, how you interact with clients, putting it up in a way that you can see it all at a glance opens your mind up to see things you couldn't have seen otherwise. It causes you to perfect your processes. So I would apply this in lots of areas of your life, not just the one that I'm talking about right now. Let's see. Good. Finally made one. It says Facebook user for me, so I assume that means you're probably one of my students. Glad you're here, but I don't know who it is that said that. Dave, thanks for that comment. Yep, I appreciate that. You guys, I encourage your comments and your questions, so please do that. And also the likes and the loves. That lets me know you're here and that you appreciate the time I spent after I procrastinated and actually got the work done. So I had something to prepare to give you guys today. So I definitely encourage those likes and loves, and I encourage comments and questions. And so the next thing I want to discuss is what do you want for your clients, your business? What do you want for your business, and what do you want your clients to experience? So what's for you? What's for them? Through the filter of your business's goals, your statements, mission, value, vision, and position statements. By the way, I often just use mission, value, and vision, and usually only in my intermediate or advanced classes talk about the position statement, but I included all 4 of those here. What things are going to get you excited? What things are going to make you proud? What, if you had it, would cause an endless supply of excitement and enthusiasm for your future? Too many of us are doing things that don't fit that category. In fact, we're doing things that are draining us emotionally and draining our creativity, draining our energy. So, in this ideal world, what would you be doing that only brought you enthusiasm and excitement? There's a lot of things that don't. Maybe you want to start there. I don't know. But what things do bring you joy, excitement, enthusiasm? What are those things? You want to plan them so you can put them in your path. Kind of like you're playing a video game. You may know which video game I'm talking about. You come across those coins and you got more energy. This is what we want in our life. We want to purposefully put things in our path that bring us joy and enthusiasm, increase our energy. We also want to put people in our path that fit that description. That's why target marketing is so important. You don't work with everybody just because they have money. Is money the only thing that matters to you? Of course not. Before you begin, you must also very clearly define who your target market is, so that your message is clear to everybody, but so that it is your ideal client who responds. We don't want to waste time on those who are not ideal. For portrait photographers, if your thought is to cast a wide net, I put you in the time waster category. Both of your time and that of the people who reach out to you who aren't the right fit. This is who you're wasting the time. Both yours and the people who reach out to you who don't fit what it is you want to do. You're wasting both your time and theirs. Not cool. Put simply, you as a photographer are a tool to help someone else get what they want. So describe yourself so clearly that they do not mistake you for something that you aren't. Let me give an example of a tool in a tool store. I'm going to give you an example of what sounds like a descriptive message of that product. I spin really fast so that I can do what I do really well. Let me start that again. Here's an example of what sounds like a descriptive message. I spin really fast so I can do what I do really well. I am convenient to use. I am high quality so you can enjoy using me for many years to come. Well, in that description, you certainly have given a description. But you could be a lot of things. You could be a circular saw. You could be a table saw. You could be a lawnmower. You could be a weed eater. Heck, you could even be a ceiling fan with that description. I'll give you that description again so you can see it in your mind's eye. I spin really fast so I can do what I do really well. I am convenient to use, and I am high quality so you can use me for years to come. There's a lot of things in the tool store that sound like that. You as photographers have to be so descriptive that those who come to you are actually looking for what it is that you do. Photographers, you must be clear in your description so that the prospects who reach out to you already believe that you are likely the right tool for the job. I call this magnetic marketing. Attract what's right, repel what isn't. This is so you don't waste your time or theirs. This is how the majority of the prospects that reach out to me already want appropriately sized wall portraits. I get this question often. Jim, How is it that you are getting people who want to have wall portraits made? I keep getting people who want digital files. Your description. That's why you're not getting what you want, because you haven't clearly defined what you do. I don't convince people that they need wall portraits. I'm a tool that does that. And so when I am the tool they need, I'm the one they take off the shelf. I don't need everybody. I don't have time for everybody. I just need the people who want me. So I've got to define me. And then I don't waste time. Not on that. I've got other things that waste time, but I don't waste time there. If you want to do wall portraits, do a good job describing who you are and what you do. Yeah, simple as that. Yes, there's more to it, but on the surface, it is as simple as that. Now let's talk about your processes. I want you to define your processes. What do you want your ideal client to experience? What is the ideal experience for the ideal client? What do you want for them? This includes both the client experience, the things they see, and the behind the scenes processes. Because even though they may not see them, they're affected by them. This is the prospect to client process, the marketing. Some may call it a client funnel. This is the client process, the entire sales process, from the moment they call you, email you, the first interaction, through the planning, the actual photography session, the post-production process, what is it you're going to do, showing your photographs, fine-tuning them for print, optimizing for print, getting them printed, getting them packaged, getting them delivered, and getting them installed. If you're a full-service photographer, you get the prints installed. By the way, most photographers are not full-service. Full service means you have left absolutely no work whatsoever for your client to do. If there's anything that your client must do, you are not full service. By the way, those of you who are old enough, you may remember gas stations where there were two sides. One, full service. One, self-serve. There's probably a few of you that are going, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. And there's probably some others that are going, what? What's that? By the way, in some states, there's still full service. But in most places, full service just doesn't exist anymore. You would drive in, and they would do everything. You wouldn't leave your car. They'd fill up your car with gas. They would check oil and other fluids. If your washer fluid needed filling, they would fill it. Full service. You didn't do anything. You drove up. You talked to the person. You paid the person. But you didn't do any of the work. Full service. You don't have to be full service in your photography business. I chose to be because that was the ideal experience that I wanted my clients to have. So I chose full service. By the way, full service does take a lot more time, and you're going to be charging a lot more for it. Makes sense. More of your time costs more of their dollars. So what are your steps once they become a client? The planning session, the photography session, the post-production, the portrait selection, the product finishing. What are your steps? The installation, what happens next? What are your steps? Here's a pro tip. At every point in the client process, I want you to analyze and look at how you can add in a wow. I want you to add in wow moments and shareable experiences. What things, big or small, can you add in that give your client the potential to feel enthusiasm about sharing your experience with those they know? All the little things add up to your ideal client becoming loyal and encouraging others to work with you too. Now let's talk about time and how do you we only have 24 hours in the day, so you may be thinking, well, how can I save time? It just keeps on, time keeps on going. It's linear, keeps on ticking, ticking, ticking into the future, if you like the Steve Miller Band. You can buy time. When you hire someone else to do a job, you're buying their time to get something accomplished for you. So therefore, you're not spending your time. So let's talk about outsourcing and delegation. Far too photographers take advantage of saving time by hiring someone to do things for us. We're do-it-yourselfers. You know, any task that you don't do, any task that you don't do is time saved. And where you can save time, you should at least consider the variables of doing so. Sometimes it costs too much to do that. Sometimes, we feel like, well, it's quicker if we do it ourselves, or we can't share this with someone else in a way that they're going to get it done exactly the way we need to get it done. There's considerations, and those are true. You also may think, well, that's fine for other people, those who can't afford it, but it won't work for me unless I win the lottery. Guys, you couldn't be further from the truth. You can't afford it. Certainly not everything. You can't afford everything. I get that. But you can afford to outsource a lot more stuff than you think you can. There's many ways where you can do this, and I'll show you how, plus give you some ideas and tips on how to do it and how to make it happen. It's based on your plan, what you're trying to accomplish. Your plan will tell you very clearly that there are things you must outsource. But without a plan, you're clueless. You don't know. You're totally unaware. Ignorance is bliss is one of those sayings. It isn't in this instance. Maybe it feels that way at first, but it isn't. Again, it's based on a plan and making sure that your prices are appropriate to make it happen. Now, that doesn't mean just go and raise your prices right now. It doesn't mean that. It means create your plan, and the plan will tell you what it is you're supposed to do. It makes things so clear. Know how much you're worth for every hour you work. It makes it easier to decide whether or not you might consider outsourcing or delegating. Know how much you're worth. By the way, several years ago, probably 8 or 10 years ago, someone challenged me on, knowing how much you work per hour, saying, we don't charge by the hour. Photographers don't do that. Maybe event photographers do, but portrait photographers don't. Generally speaking, that's true. There are a handful of photographers that very clearly say 30 minutes, an hour, or whatever. So some of them are working by the hour. They're clearly stating the session is an hour. And I'm not saying that's wrong or right. I'm not commenting on that at all. But some are clearly stating that this amount they're charging is for this amount of time. For me, I don't do that. I do give an indication of how much time they can plan on investing. I do that. But my job is to complete the job in a way that thrills my client. That's why I have a thrilled guarantee. You probably heard me say this before. My thrilled guarantee is I absolutely guarantee that you will be thrilled, not just satisfied, or I'll do whatever it takes to make you thrilled. And if I can't, I'm going to give you your money back. I'm serious about that. I want you to know how much you're worth for every hour you work. By the way, if you take advantage of my, and I'll put that link back up here again, if you take advantage of my 30-minute consultation and you ask, you want to talk about pricing, I can tell you exactly how much you're worth per hour. I can tell you exactly. And it's math. It's not an indication of how valuable you are to the world. It doesn't even remotely go into that category. It's just a clear indication of the amount that you're worth in order to reach the goals that you want in this life. It's just math. No emotional connection there. But I can help you out. I can tell you exactly what your pricing is supposed to be. There's also another way to define whether you should be outsourcing or delegating. And this is what I call the passion scale. I know that kind of sounds funny, but it's a passion scale. And it has 4 quadrants. If you're taking notes, which I hope you are, I want you to put a line and then cross it right down the middle of it. So the line going across is a little bit longer than the one up and down. Because I want you to put 4 words in each one of these quadrants. In fact, how about if I just share my screen and you can see what I'm talking about. Share screen, window. There we go. There it is. All right. So you can see right here on that right side in the box where you've got the long line and then the line crossing it. In that first quadrant, passion. These are the things that you're passionate about. You love these things. Again, we're talking about when should we outsource. This is one way of considering. The other way we talked about is knowing how much you're worth and how much does it cost to get it, making a comparison there. Another way is the passion scale. I would say use both. The things you're passionate about. There's a lot of things you're passionate about. These are things you should be doing, of course, because you're passionate about them. Things you're passionate about. Now, make a list of the things that you are excellent at. And you can see even further down on my screen, number 1 is list the things you're passionate about. Just make a list. The things you love. You love. Write them down. Number 2, the things you are excellent at and both want and like to do. You are excellent at it. You may not be passionate about it, but you are amazing at it. Write those things down. The next one is the things you are competent at. But you feel like these are time consuming or you feel like they drain you, but you are good at it. You can do it just fine. And you do. List those things. And then finally, list the things, and be honest, this is a tough one, the things you are incompetent at. And by the way, if you feel like you're not incompetent at anything, come on. Incompetent doesn't mean total failure. It's just the things that you know that there's others that can do a so much better job than you. Or maybe you just don't know how or don't choose how to do it. And by the way, do not waste your time trying to learn everything. Do-it-yourselfers trying to learn every single aspect of the photography business, guys, you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle. Don't even bother trying to learn everything. In that quadrant, I want you to that plus sign with the passion, excellent, competent, incompetent. I want you to circle the top section, passion and excellent. Just circle it. Because those are the only things you should be doing. You shouldn't be doing the things you're competent at. Seriously. And you shouldn't especially be doing the things you are incompetent at. That's the passion scale. Only do the things you are passionate about and the things you are excellent at. Delegate or outsource everything else. You guys clear on that? I'm going back to the comment section. I can see some of you have commented. Good. Thank you, Facebook users. By the way, if you want to remain anonymous, then you're doing it right. If you don't mind me knowing who you are, then go to the top of the feed to the original post and click on that StreamYard permission. That way I know who I'm talking to. Yeah. Automation. That's one that I talk about a lot. I'm not talking about it today, but yeah, automation. Huge, huge. If I had more time, I definitely would have included that. It was in my original notes, but this is only an hour. Let's see. A lot of us are. Now, sometimes it's because we haven't defined, Rick, who our perfect target market is. Once we've identified those people who energize us and keep us going, sometimes we actually become really good at bringing in clients, because now we are not having to deal with the people who aren't ideal. We're only dealing with those who energize us, who lift us. But until we've got a good, strong plan and we've defined very clearly who our target market is, we actually don't know that yet. And so most people haven't done that. So therefore, most people feel like they could use some improvement on bringing in clients. So that's pretty normal. Yes. Ruben, man, so many of us are in that category. And by the way, that's what I do full time. I help people on the business side. Now, sometimes I recommend outsourcing, but I definitely help you on the business side so that it's clean, so that it's clear, so that it makes sense. Thank you guys for sharing the things that you're incompetent at. Sometimes that's hard to share because we don't want people to know the things that we're not good at. Sometimes it doesn't matter, but other times we don't want people to know. So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. All right. Again, I only want you to do the things you're passionate about and you're excellent at. That being said, are you passionate or excellent at bookkeeping or taxes? No? Then hire a bookkeeper and a CPA. I think you should do that no matter what. Are you passionate or excellent at the legal side of things? No? All right. Those of you who are taking notes, here's who I want you to call. Reach out to Alicia Calzada. There's her address. If you're not excellent at the legal side, reach out to her. By the way, I'm going to go through these a little bit fast, and so you might want to watch the replay and get these or do a screenshot of these, because I have a handful of them. Are you passionate or excellent at integrating your website or even building your website, lead generation, email responses, and follow-up emails? No? Then I want you to reach out to Nate at Sticky. And although there are several websites, this is the one I want you to go to because this is the most complete. Sticky BFY. That is built for you. And I think the deal that they are offering is freaking incredible. It really is. And Nate's a fantastic guy, so is his team. Oh, by the way, no, I am not getting any commission by telling you these. I didn't even tell them ahead of time I was going to do it. So there's no money motivation for me. I want you to reach out to these guys. How about this one? Are you passionate or excellent at creating video marketing? No? All right. Then I want you to reach out to Fabian Garza at International Visual Communications. By the way, he's been getting so much work lately that he's pretty busy. And so if you reach out to him and he can't fit you into his schedule, then let me know, and I have some others who I can recommend. But this is the one I'm going to first. Fabian Garza at International Visual Communications. Write these down, guys, even if you don't need them right now. How about this one? Are you passionate or excellent at printing, mounting, and other print finishing? No? Then don't buy some cost-conscious inkjet printer. Use the professionals at Digital Pro Lab. They are both passionate and excellent because they do this every single day. Do you really think that you will ever become better than them? You've got other things to do. You don't have that kind of time. Buy their time. That way you don't have to spend any of yours. By the way, they have a discount for you. So while you're going to that digitalprolab.com website, I want you guys to use a promo code for a 16 by 20 metal print. I'm going to type this out, but I want you guys to write it. 16 by 20 metal print. They're going to give you 25% off using a promo code. And I'll tell you that in just a moment. I'm writing it in right now. Metal 25. And I'm about to put that on the screen. So digitalprolab.com, use promo code METAL25, and that will give you 25% off a 16 by 20 metal panel print. Ooh, I didn't put in the word panel. Metal panel print. Let me edit that. Metal panel print. There we go. 16 by 20 metal panel print, 25% off using promo code METAL, all lowercase, 25. METAL 25. You guys got that one? And that's at digitalprolab.com. All right. How about this one? Are you passionate or excellent at business planning? The business side of your photography business? By the way, you guys realize that about 80 to 90% of your time is not spent behind the camera as a photographer? Meaning you need to know a lot about the business side in order to make this work. But you can outsource a lot of it. You can get help for the things you do want to do, the organizing. And do you know who can help you with that? This guy. I encourage you to take my classes, my photography classes, my business classes, and I encourage you to take advantage of my coaching. I have options where you can have time with me once a week, once every other week, once a month. Go to landersphotoschool.com and check it out. There's a lot of things on there. By the way, there's 120 different classes. So the coaching is one of those. And if you need help, just reach out to me. Jim@landersphotoschool.com. Be happy to go over my website with you. Actually, I need to reduce the number. There's way too many options. So I'm going to be doing that probably in the near future. But I can help you with that business side. This is an area where many photographers struggle. In fact, probably 95% of all photographers struggle on the business side, if they have any struggle at all. So don't try to do everything yourself. You don't have that much time. So buy someone else's. And allow me to help you learn how to cause you to be able to afford it. Yeah, there's ways. There are times when there aren't also. But you'd be surprised how many times we're able to easily find a way for photographers to be able to afford these different types of outsourcing that are available to you. There are way too many things. Way too many things to do. There aren't that many hours in a day to accomplish all the things you need to do. If you are a strict do-it-yourselfer, then I have a warning for you. Be prepared for the likely outcome of having to struggle your entire career. For those of you who have a plan that works, that's complete, you'll see how obvious it is to outsource. Buy other people's time. Talk about how much time you're going to save. Time management doesn't start on what I need to do today. It starts by having a good, strong foundation from which to build good time management from. You are wasting your time without a strong foundation. So that's why we're talking about it today. I'm looking at some of your... I like your comments, you guys. Thanks, Ruben. Appreciate that. Yep. Jimmy, that's right. Digital Pro Lab, they do a great job. Amanda hires good people. The people she works with are passionate. They are excellent. They're not just good enough. They're fantastic people. So yeah. Okay. Yep. That will save some time. That's funny, Mike. Good. All right. So I want to remind you guys about the promo code that the Digital Pro Lab is offering. Just in case you didn't write it down, one more opportunity to do that. DigitalProLab.com is offering 16 by 20 metal panel prints at 25% off just by using the promo code METAL25. No spaces, lowercase, METAL25. Hopefully you guys have gotten that written down. I hope that this episode of the Portrait Profit Show has been beneficial to your growth as a professional photographer. Obviously, you have a lot of work to do. Don't have to do it all yourself. And I hope you know what it is that I do. I help portrait photographers reach their goals, even when they don't know what to do next. I love this stuff, photography and the business side of photography. And I love to share what I enjoy, to the point that it sometimes annoys my wife. So would you do me a favor and tell her you appreciate what I do? She knows. I'm kidding. I want you to be successful in your photography business, and I am here to help. It is what I am passionate about. It's what I do. You don't have to do that. If it hasn't worked for you so far, then maybe you could use some help. I'm here every single Monday helping and not charging a dime for it because of my passion for this. Take advantage of that. Be here every single Monday. I want you to add it to your calendar. If you've got Google Calendar, put it on repeat so that every Monday at noon, you know that there's a Portrait Profit Show. We don't miss. I want to remind you that on the second Monday of every single month, we do something special. We move the time from noon to 6:30 in the evening. And we have a panel of up to 3 different photographers, or other businesses, but usually photographers, to give their opinions on certain subjects, so that you're hearing it from lots of different points of view. Kind of like if you're walking up to a three-dimensional a statue, and you walk around it so you can see it from all points of view, not just one. So we have a panel so that you can hear lots of different points of view on a specific subject. That's second Monday every month at 6:30. And that is, we move it from noon. So on the second Monday, you won't see us here at noon. But every other Monday you will. So put that on your calendar. I definitely encourage you to do that. I appreciate you saying that. You're welcome. And in this context, I don't actually know what that question is about. I probably said something that spurred that, but now I don't know what it is. But definitely appreciate you commenting. I just don't know what that question means in regards to today's subject. Maybe it means how do you outsource for that kind of thing. I'm not sure. And that would be a very specific thing. And when it comes to landscape and wildlife, I'm not the go-to guy on the business side. I mean, I can help out on the base, but there's more specific stuff that you're going to want to do because that's a different type of sales. Wildlife landscape is sometimes a stock sale, and there's other types of ways to sell it, which I don't specialize in. I specialize in working with people, selling to a family, selling to an individual, selling to a business. Hey, Mary, I'm glad you're here. Awesome. Okay, cool. All right, so one more time, I'm going to put up my information. So if you want a free, I'm not charging you for it, a free 30-minute private session with me, just use that URL, calendly.com/photoschool/30min. Find a time and date, get on my calendar. And if you want me to take you to lunch, have lunch with me, then this is where you go. Same beginning, calendly.com/photoschool, and then /lunch-with-Landers, lunch with Landers. So take advantage of those. Of course. Thank you, Rick. And I appreciate you saying that. Rick Castillo said, "Thank you, Robin, for all you do." And he said, "Oh, and Amanda and Ray from Digital Pro Lab too." Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, you guys, I thoroughly enjoy the time I spend with you on Mondays. I look forward to this every week, and I hope you do too. I encourage you to share this. Let other people know about it. For Landers Photography School and Digital Pro Lab, this is Jim Landers bringing you the weekly Portrait Profit Show, giving you evolving content, awareness, and even fun to the business side of photography. We provide helpful information, step-by-step processes, how-to articles, and action steps that will help you through the struggles you deal with now so you are constantly realigned to the path that leads to the success you deserve. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye for now.